I'm going to be going over 5 hopefully helpful tips that will improve your blending. That will improve your blending with Sharpie. So I have this character that I drew up in Procreate, and I'm going to be using her as a demonstration for the 5 tips. So my first blending tip is overlay, which is pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and color this leaf in with this one solid color. And then once it's all filled in, I'm taking this same color and just overlaying it on top. And so right now I'm just sort of building up layers to get this part of the leaf a deeper color, but it's still the same color. And then right here, I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing. I still have the same color and I'm just darkening it in. And I'm pressing a little harder than before so that more ink comes out and sort of blends in with the lighter base color. And then to get an actual sort of blending look, I take this green color and I'm going to go ahead and put it right on my darker area, just towards the bottom where the base is. And I'm going over it a few times. I'm not going to bring it all over the leaf because I want this color to blend out. So once I have enough pigment down on the leaf, I'm going to go back to my previous color and sort of blend it out. And it's such a subtle blend. And I'm just going over the color again and again, which is why I call it overlay, because I'm literally just overlaying the colors. And then again, on this side, I'm taking this different green and doing the same thing, laying it down, going out, not filling it all in, just this base area, because that's where I want this color to sort of lay. And then going back with my previous base color and going right over it on top. And that's it. And I'm doing the other side of the leaf the same way, of course, and then using my other green color to do that subtle color change at the base of the leaf, get it really nice and dark. And it definitely helps that I'm using greens that are very close in color. You always get a better blend when you work in the same sort of color family. The next tip is feathering. For this one, I'm using my larger chisel tip Sharpie because a lot more ink tends to come out of the chisel tip and it's much easier to blend with. And so I'm going to use the feathering technique on her hair. And I'm just flicking out in this curve sort of way. And then I'm going to stop here. And I'm going to make sure I'm working quickly. So I'm going to go and transition to this other blue. Again, I'm working in that same color family. And I'm laying down this lighter blue and dragging it down, just like so. And then again, I'm going to stop and quickly change it out with this even lighter blue. And I'm going in and dragging it down. And this one is a bit more difficult to blend. It's such a lighter color in comparison to that really saturated blue that I was just using, but we're going to try and make it work regardless. Just going over it a few times until it does what we want it to do. And then I'm going to stop right there and get the previous blue color and do the same thing on the bottom, but I'm going to be going up. So I'm using this feathering stroke in the opposite direction, and then I'm going to stop, switch quickly. Don't waste too much time because you want to make sure that you are working with ink that is fresh and wet still, as that'll just promote a much better blend. And then to sort of smooth it out, I just kind of go over top on some areas, just kind of making it look more like hair, like there's dimension in there, maybe some thinner lines. And it just really helps bring the blending process together. Then I'm going to finish the bottom because I didn't do my dark color. I decided to leave that one for last on this bottom area, mostly because there's a lot of nooks and crannies and I didn't want to work fast in this area. I wanted to be able to take my time. And then I'm just going to go back in with my medium blue and add in some strands as well. Not too many, just a few. And these aren't meant to be blended out. And depending on how many Sharpies you have or what colors you have, I have this fine liner that I'm going to use to put in super thin lines into the hair. Again, not too many, just kind of following a few of the lines already made. And that's it. And of course, in smaller areas, I'm able to do the feathering out with my smaller markers. and it's still really effective with blending out. And there's nothing to it. And then it's easier to blend in small areas because you're able to work faster, and working fast is pretty crucial when it comes to blending, in my opinion, because going through and switching between colors while they're wet is really what makes the difference in how well the blend will be. So right now I'm just working on the skin, and I'm trying to go between this almond color and this really pinky peach color. And I'm using the almond to sort of create my shadows and blending them out. And I'm trying to stick to going section by section, switching between the almond to the pink and getting good blending results. So I'm going to go ahead and do this other side using my almond, going to the pink, blending it out. And so that's basically it. I'm going to be continuing on with the rest of her skin, breaking it down kind of into sections so that I keep them small. So I'm doing her neck, and then I'm going over with the darker color, the almond, adding in some shading and blending it out a bit right at the edge. And that's it. And then in my opinion, for the cleanest blend, the tip-to-tip method is the best one. So basically you take one color and another, and you go ahead and touch the tips together. And the top color will kind of just, not like pour in, but it'll mix with the tip of the other marker, and you'll be able to get a really cool gradient effect. So even though this is a really, really neon pink, I have blue coming out. And then eventually, as I keep going, the pink will start fading right back in, and it really creates an amazingly smooth blend. And then just do it again if you need to. And you shouldn't hold the tips together too long, just long enough to where you can get that first color to show. And voila, that's it. I really don't think it gets any smoother than this because Sharpies in general are really hard to blend, in my opinion. I feel like it takes a lot of effort, and this is the lowest level of effort to get a really good blend from one color to the next. And my last tip is paper. It's so important to have the right type of paper. The paper I'm using here is the Express It blending card paper. I get it on Amazon, and I love it just because it promotes really good blends by making sure the ink doesn't dry too fast so that you can get those really good blends. And since, in my opinion, Sharpie is quite difficult to work with when it comes to blending, this paper does make the process just a bit easier. And I'm not saying Express It blending card paper is the only paper that can be used for Sharpie and blending, but it's definitely the only one I've used. However, I'd imagine that any paper that's suitable for alcohol markers would be suitable for Sharpie. So these were my 5 tips for blending Sharpie markers, and I really hope you found them helpful because, like I've said before, Sharpies can be really hard to blend. And I'm done. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to thumbs up, leave a comment, and share. And I'll see everyone next time. Thanks. Bye.